Someone said that they weren't there to take stuff; they were there to delete everything. Like the real people that were in there, you know.
Oh,
like
that's funny.
I mean, but the thing is that people in the music and entertainment industry had to know that Diddy was like abusing, kids basically, and yet they still fed him kids.
That used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice.
Joe Rogan recently shared some interesting details about his attempts to get music mogul Sean Diddy Combs on his podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. According to Rogan, Diddy turned down several invites to appear, citing concerns about the controversial nature of the show. Rogan, known for his honest and no-holds-barred approach, didn't shy away from discussing the situation. He suggested that Diddy's hesitation might be due to the intense public attention and scrutiny that comes with being in the spotlight. This has led many to wonder why Diddy is avoiding the interview, especially with all the media buzz surrounding him lately.
I would imagine if you're the fucking CIA, you're like, okay, we're looking for people who have gone through these things in their life that have curated this kind of like personality type.
Well, isn't it just like part of the gig? Like here's a for instance, like your bit about Puffy.
How you're gonna connect these two fucking dots?
That bit is like, look, you don't have any real personal beef with Diddy, but it's got to go down. The bits are there. I'm a gold miner. I just found some gold.
You're right. Maybe I'm a sociopath.
It's not that you're a sociopath. It's just that that's part of the gig.
Yes.
Like, you're not a sociopath with your friends.
No, I think I'm maybe an empath.
Yes.
But I guess it's one of those things where like you justify, you go, okay, I think this person might have done something bad.
Joe Rogan's podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, is one of the most influential platforms in the US, with millions of listeners tuning in for candid, unfiltered discussions on everything from politics to pop culture. For many, appearing on the show is a huge opportunity to reach a massive audience and possibly shift public opinion. That's why Diddy's decision to turn down multiple invitations to join Rogan's podcast has raised a lot of questions. Given the podcast's power and reach, especially in today's media landscape, some are now wondering if Diddy is avoiding tough questions or trying to keep certain aspects of his life and business under wraps. Even former President Donald Trump has recognized how significant Rogan's platform is, adding to the mystery behind Diddy's refusal. Critics are left speculating what might Diddy be trying to hide.
And systematically, when you see those same people in the past, very favorable to you, like Oprah, when you were on Oprah's show,
very.
She was encouraging you.
Last week, I did one of her last shows, I think maybe Thursday or Friday. That was a big deal, being on Oprah's show, the last one. And I was like one of the last shows in that final week. And I said, boy, we've come a long way since that.
What was it like?
The concept, it was really like two different lives. I had a very wonderful life, but I wanted to do this. The Apprentice was still going very strong. We had 12 seasons, and we had actually 14 seasons, 12 years. They had a couple of them.
Well, they canceled The Apprentice when you were running for president, correct?
No, they had Arnold Schwarzenegger do it. I was involved in that, and I had enough of it, and we did great. It was doing great, but they wanted me to stay. They all came to see me. They said, we're going to give you a contract. They wanted to extend my contract. Mark Burnett is a great guy. And they wanted to extend the contract. Mark said, you're crazy. Don't run. No. Nobody gives up primetime, they said. It's one of those little things, which is probably true.
Nobody gives up primetime, though, for being president?
For running against 20 some odd people, turned out to be 18 professional people, mostly politicians. They said, who would do this? I mean, it's a long shot. Actually, the heads of NBC came over, Paul Telegny, all the top people came over to see me, try and talk me out of it, because they wanted to have me extend. The Apprentice was doing well. So it was 14 seasons. It was 12 years. We had 2 seasons where we had a double, which rarely happens. It was just a hot show.
Donald Trump recently sat down for one of his most in-depth media interviews on the Joe Rogan Experience, lasting over 3 hours. During the conversation, Trump and Rogan covered a wide range of topics, from Trump's political strategies and thoughts on his presidency to some more unexpected subjects. For the first time, Trump took a somewhat reflective approach, admitting there were things he could have handled differently while in office. They even touched on the topic of extraterrestrial life, with Trump saying there's no reason to rule out the possibility of life beyond Earth, in his usual straightforward manner. The interview also veered into other topics, like Trump's time hosting The Apprentice, and even some historical thoughts on Abraham Lincoln. Rogan, known for his direct but relaxed style, pressed Trump on various points, but kept the tone light and enjoyable, making it an engaging conversation for listeners.
Popular podcast hosts in America, Joe Rogan, as he makes his biggest play yet for young male voters. The appeal obvious, with more than 14 million followers on Spotify. Rogan's potential audience dwarfs the population of any of the 7 battleground states. Trump has been going on other podcasts targeted to a younger male audience as well, and at least for some voters we talked with, it's working.
He talks like I talk with my friends, and it's very familiar.
You don't see that a lot in politics.
No, it's an old guy, but he's a little younger than the other old candidates. So
that's interesting. So he comes off like one of the guys, basically.
Yeah, basically.
I was just thinking about my choice, who I'm going to vote for, and everything Kamala said just doesn't appeal to me. And I think that as a person, you got to vote for the candidate and not for the policy, and I don't trust Kamala to run this country.
I want to bring in MSNBC political contributor and director of polling at the Harvard Kennedy School Institute of Politics, John Della Volpe. He wrote an op-ed for the New York Times titled, "Trump's Bro-Whispering Could Cost Democrats Too Many Young Men." Tim Miller is back with us as well. So I know, John, that you have been talking to lots of young male voters this cycle. Tell us what you found.
Well, I think, Chris, if you ask the second question to those young men that we just saw, you find I would argue, a crisis of confidence.
Kamala Harris was originally scheduled to appear on the Joe Rogan Experience, but ultimately cancelled her appearance. This decision came after Judge Jeanine Pirro sharply criticized Harris on Fox News' The Five. Pirro argued that Harris struggles with clear communication, particularly in formal settings, and often responds to serious questions with laughter or vague answers, which she believes hurts Harris's credibility as a leader. Pirro suggested that Harris's interview style, marked by evasion and unclear responses, could undermine public confidence in her, especially as her campaign faces mounting scrutiny from both the media and voters. Pirro also speculated that Harris might be avoiding the Rogan interview because of the tough, unfiltered nature of the podcast. While Harris's team cited a scheduling conflict as the reason for the cancellation, Pirro and her co-hosts questioned whether Harris was truly equipped to handle the long, in-depth discussions Rogan's show is known for. They implied that Harris may have been uncomfortable with the prospect of a candid, challenging conversation.
Is incapable of a conversation. Do you know Axios reported that she actually had to do some kind of mock dinners on how she could communicate with donors during dinners, how to hold a wine glass, how to have a conversation. Remember, she didn't go to the Al Smith dinner, and in a racist close, you don't insult Roman Catholics, you just don't do it, okay, because she can't even be self-deprecating with a script. Even her message was made by someone else. So am I surprised she's not doing it? Absolutely not. First of all, she's in Texas. What's the problem? She's already there when Joe Rogan is in Texas. It is the #1 podcast in the country, if not in the world, as far as I know. And you need men? Go to Joe. That's where you go. And finally, I don't care if you have a campaign rally, a dinner, an interview, you cancel them all for Joe Rogan. And this just reeks of her team probably trying to set parameters and Joe Rogan saying, no parameters, thank you. She either sits down and talks like everybody else or forget it. The woman is incapable of giving a substantive answer or having a communication. We've watched it for 95 days.
Hey, Greg, she doesn't have to do 3 hours. She can do an hour. She could do 45.
I don't blame her. Kamala doing like a multi-hour podcast is like you doing Jeopardy. It's like, it's just a complete disaster.
I agree.
The one thing that she didn't like was follow-up questions. And if you watch Joe Rogan, it's 3 hours of follow-up questions. He's just like this. What do you mean?
Yeah.
What I don't understand what's going on. And that's why he's so good, is that he kind of like, he draws you out into a universe that's beyond your little lily pad of fixed commentary. This is why this is kind of a big deal, because it really is a contrast between types. You know, Trump is, whether you like him or not, he's stamina personified. The guy could talk The View off a meat truck.
The debate over whether politicians should appear on non-traditional media platforms, like Joe Rogan's podcast, highlights a growing tension in how public figures engage with the public. Rogan recently shared his thoughts on why Kamala Harris has yet to appear on the Joe Rogan Experience, a decision he feels may have cost her the opportunity to reach a broader, non-political audience. Rogan speculated that Harris might be hesitant because of the podcast's unpredictable and unfiltered format, which often goes beyond the typical scripted, media-controlled interviews. Rogan pointed out that, unlike traditional media, his podcast is known for deep, unscripted conversations where tough, direct questions are asked. Politicians like Harris may see this as risky, fearing they could be caught off guard or forced to address uncomfortable topics that might be avoided in more controlled settings. However, Rogan also noted that an appearance on his show would give Harris the chance to speak directly to people who may not agree with her but are still open to hearing from her, creating a unique opportunity for connection. Harris's team, however, may have decided that the unpredictable nature of Rogan's audience and the potential for difficult questions were too big a risk, choosing instead to stick to more familiar, controlled media appearances. Rogan suggested that this decision reflects a broader trend where public figures prefer to avoid challenging platforms in favor of safer, more predictable ones, missing out on opportunities for direct, open dialogue with the public. In another recent discussion, Rogan didn't shy away from addressing the ongoing rumors about Diddy's infamous parties described as extravagant and mysterious, even allegedly tied to a secretive celebrity cult. Rogan openly talked about these rumors, which have circulated for years, showcasing his willingness to dive into controversial and sensational topics without hesitation.
Something that might have been taped, or a lot of things that might have been taped and on video in his possession.
Absolutely. You know, Tracy told us that her suspicion was that federal agents were specifically looking for video evidence, for digital evidence, whether that was flash drives, hard drives, you know, home security systems, those kinds of things. And we now know, after Combs's arrest and the indictment, that she was correct, that what they've discovered is video evidence.
And she's pretty strong on that point, isn't she? What'd she say, about 80 to 90% of what's being said could be on video, and it's a pretty scary thought considering what we're reading.
100%. Look, the indictment is 14 pages long. Tracy says that that's not common, that that's actually quite short, which I thought was interesting.
But it's the detail, isn't it?
The detail is incredibly graphic in that indictment, and with what it describes, specifically in relation to the video evidence that the agents have seized.
Yeah, well, you've read through that very closely, Sammy, as I have, but take us through that indictment, Sammy. I mean, we both read through that and everything sort of...
Diddy's legendary parties, often attended by A-list celebrities, have long been the subject of speculation due to their chaotic and sometimes mysterious nature. Some have even suggested that these events might involve a darker, more hidden influence. Jason Lee, a well-known figure in Hollywood, has been outspoken about his experiences at Diddy's infamous all-white parties and birthday bashes. In interviews, Lee has opened up about the wild and controversial scenes he witnessed, revealing that many high-profile stars were involved in secretive and sometimes shocking behavior that remained hidden from the public eye. His stories have fueled curiosity, offering a rare glimpse into the private world of Hollywood's elite. In a recent appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience, Elon Musk added fuel to the fire, claiming that insiders in the music industry are well aware of Diddy's controversial actions. Musk suggested that Diddy's activities might not be as secret as they seem, with influential figures in the industry knowing more than the public realizes. Musk also stirred up even more attention with a tweet, asking how many people in the music and entertainment world were aware of what Diddy had allegedly been involved in. The tweet sparked a wave of reactions and speculation, further drawing attention to the ongoing allegations against the music mogul.
For her,
Oh, yeah.
every human being knew some shit about Diddy that knew him, and nobody could. They were all
they were afraid.
all scared.
It's incredibly
And
brave.
she's just like, nah, here's everything.
That's the thing. A lot of the people that are powerful that do this kind of stuff coming out. Well, I guess coming out, you could argue no matter what is brave because you also have to deal with the
course.
scrutiny of that. But like
for her especially.
Yeah, it's like even coming out saying like Diddy doesn't pay his taxes is brave.
Yeah.
You could get murked for that.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't come through, everybody leaves you out in the cold. It's not like you get protected. Once you come out and accuse a powerful man of something, it's not like you get like Secret Service protection.
Yeah.
You alone.
Yeah.
And you either get touched or lawyers fucking bankrupt you or like even the legal ways that they could drain you are crazy.
Because you have to engage a lawyer.
Yeah.
In order to fight anything that comes in. So anybody can sue anybody for anything. And you have to call a lawyer to help you with that. And every time you call them, that's money. Every hour they spend, that's money. They could send, what's it called, allegation after allegation. They could literally drown you.
Yeah.
So if you don't have deep pockets, which a lot of these people who are being taken advantage of don't, you're not going to take advantage of some like princess because she got deep pockets. She going to fuck you and her parents are powerful as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All you need is one cease and desist. Hey, stop talking about this or we're taking you to court. And then you don't even have to get people active. You could literally just have a letter and have lawyers come
if
out.
that guy will do that to you in a hotel lobby, think what he'll do behind closed doors.
Think about how arrogant Diddy was.
Comedian and podcaster Andrew Schulz recently reacted to the bizarre details surrounding Diddy's arrest, taking a humorous spin on the shocking revelations. Schulz, known for his edgy and irreverent style, couldn't help but laugh at the report that authorities discovered over 1,000 bottles of baby oil at Diddy's mansion during a raid. He poked fun at the strange image of Diddy's eccentric lifestyle, mocking the absurdity of the situation with his usual sharp wit. The reaction quickly went viral on social media, with fans joining in, amused and bewildered by the surreal picture of the hip-hop mogul surrounded by so much baby oil. In a recent Joe Rogan Experience episode, Rogan also touched on Diddy, referencing the phrase P. Diddy did it as he delved into various conspiracy theories and controversies surrounding the music mogul. Rogan and his guests speculated that Diddy may have used his extravagant parties to blackmail high-profile figures, suggesting that his influence in Hollywood might go far beyond just music. They also discussed rumors about Diddy's involvement in past scandals. While Rogan acknowledged that some of the claims sounded like conspiracy theories, he noted that they continue to capture the public's attention. Some even drew comparisons between Diddy's parties and those connected to the infamous Jeffrey Epstein, adding to the ongoing mystery and fascination surrounding the mogul.
What do you think would be a bigger impact on the election, Diddy's list or Epstein's list coming out at this point? Epstein.
I think Diddy's
on the election.
On the election, I think Diddy's is more music moguls.
Saw the polls after Taylor Swift announced endorsement for Kamala Harris. It didn't even move like 0.5% of the vote. So celebrities, they don't really have an influence, like not a big influence.
I want to see the Venn diagram between the Diddy list and the Epstein list, and I bet you every member of government is right in the middle.
Rumors surrounding Diddy's lavish parties and their connection to disturbing activities involving young women, high-profile guests, and alleged substance use have sparked serious concerns. Critics argue that these gatherings may hide a darker side, with some suggesting exploitation could be taking place behind the glamorous facade. Joe Rogan's podcast often explores such controversial topics, diving into the intersections of power, secrecy, and manipulation in elite circles. His discussions have highlighted public unease about the hidden aspects of the entertainment industry. Rogan has drawn unsettling comparisons between Jeffrey Epstein's infamous trafficking ring and Diddy's extravagant parties, which frequently included Hollywood elites and other influential figures. While these events may seem glamorous on the surface, Rogan and others suggest that the opulence could be concealing a more sinister reality, one where vulnerable individuals, particularly young women, might be exploited under the guise of Hollywood's allure. This perspective has raised alarms about a culture in the entertainment industry where power dynamics are abused and unethical, even predatory behaviors can go unchecked. Rogan's comparison between Diddy and Epstein underscores a broader critique of the entertainment world's darker underbelly, where money and influence seem to shield individuals from accountability. The repeated connections between Epstein and Diddy in these conversations suggest a troubling environment where those at the top can act with impunity, potentially perpetuating a culture of exploitation and abuse.
You say his fame makes him a target.
Yes, in my humble estimation, his life, his
safety is in jeopardy in any correctional lockup right now. If it is true, as reported, that he is housed in the special housing unit, it's important to note that the special housing unit is a lockdown, 24-hour lockdown unit. The MDC Brooklyn is a high-rise. The vast majority of the floors are general population floors. But the special housing unit is a 24-hour lockdown facility. So this is for Mr. Combs' protection. His incredible worldwide celebrity combined with the allegations, the charges now, and indictment, of course, of acts of violence against women make him a very attractive target.
All right.
Obviously, they need to safeguard him.
Are Diddy's parties just a reflection of a larger issue within Hollywood? Diddy is currently behind bars after his repeated not guilty pleas were rejected 3 times. Sources say he's being held in one of the country's toughest detention centers, known for its harsh conditions and limited amenities, which are usually reserved for high-profile inmates. Despite his legal team's attempts to secure bail, the court has stood firm, citing the seriousness of the charges against him. This detention is a sharp contrast to the luxurious lifestyle Diddy once enjoyed, underscoring the gravity of his situation as he waits for his next court appearance. Diddy's current predicament also highlights a bigger shift in power dynamics within the justice system. Even someone with his wealth and influence is facing the consequences of serious allegations, which serves as a reminder that, sometimes, money and status can't shield you from the law. His case is part of a broader conversation about the influence and excesses in Hollywood, where the power of celebrity has often been linked to questionable behaviors and, in some cases, legal trouble.